Hello guys and welcome back to All Things Trentside. Hi guys, I hope you're all well. This is another late match review for the game that Forest played the other day. I'm sorry, but as you can understand, it's a very busy period at the moment. I didn't realise actually how busy the games would be and how thick and fast the games would be since the restart when I first started the channel. As I say, I'll look into it properly next season, but at the moment in time I'm just going to have to work with what I can do. A bit OCD, like I say, I remember when I mentioned it, but I couldn't do a preview and a review in the same video after I've done a review, preview. Oh, I need to stop saying review. It's because I'm so used to saying review. So I've done a review, preview, review, etc. But yeah, this is going to be my review for the game against Swansea that Forest played on Wednesday. Obviously, you'll be listening to this on Friday now, so I've had a day to film and get it out there. A lot happened in this game as well. Probably the most entertaining game Forest have played since lockdown was lifted on football, as Forest were denied taking a place in the Championship playoffs and confirming that with a 2-2 draw against the Swans. But to be fair, Forest did all but secure their place, but we'll get onto that later in the video. But yeah, guys, I hope you're all well. I hope you are enjoying the content as well. I hope you are, been looking forward to this video. I've been looking forward to making it and getting it out there. So it's just a bit late, so apologies. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. So, as we all know, Forest took on Swansea City at the City Ground on Wednesday. It was a big game for Forest, probably the biggest game of the season so far, due to the fact that a win would have guaranteed our place in the Championship playoffs. There was a few major doubts for the game, and we did see that early on with Matty Cash not involved in the squad. He didn't shake off. I think it's a groin problem he had, so Carl Jenkinson continued his role at right back. Tobias Figueiredo was recalled to the squad ahead of Michael Dawson. There was no place for Joe Lolly in the starting 11, although he did come back on the bench. But other than that, it was the same squad that drew to Preston at the weekend. Surprising, 3 central defensive mids against Swansea when a game you need to win. But that's probably what sometimes Forest do this season, isn't it? Break teams down, especially teams that like to attack. As we've seen in the first 10 minutes from Swansea. So probably good thinking from Sabri, Nuno da Costa as well. He impressed again. Let's say we'll get onto that in a minute. As for Swansea, as I mentioned in the review, preview, for the game. I always get that mixed up as well. As mentioned in the preview of the game, Freddie Woodman, Swansea's main choice for this season, picked up an injury against Leeds, so he was a doubt for the game and he didn't shake that off. So Erwin Mulder deputised in goal for him, and I can't remember, is it Colin Frey commentary I watched, he did say that it was Mulder's first appearance since 2019 or 18, I can't remember which one he said. So real chance for Forest to get at the goalkeeper department, especially because he's used to not playing, he's used to being back up. Kind of like if we lost Samba now, touch wood we don't, everyone's touching their heads or some bit of woodham item. But yeah, if anything happened to Samba, then we'd have Jordan Smith, and I think it'd be the same for Forest. He doesn't really play unless it's a cup competition. But yeah, going into the first 10 minutes, Forest were really slow out the blocks. Poor, really. Didn't really get into Swansea's half. Didn't really create much going forward. Swansea didn't either, but then the deadlock was broken. After 10 minutes, lovely ball out wide to Swansea. Played forward. I think Figueiredo should have defended it well. If you watch, Conor Gallagher gets in front of him and Figueiredo just stands off him. He puts his arms out, kind of like trying to shepherd him out, or trying to send him out wide or not commit the foul. But for me, he should do better. Ball's played out wide again. Swansea whip the ball in, and Ryan Brewster, I mentioned it in the preview that he was one to watch after Andre Ayew, and he lashed him a terrific finish. It was an unbelievable finish. See why people rate him so highly. His record for Swansea since joining on loan has been brilliant, and that finish, Samba, sometimes you can question some of the goals he concedes and how he reacts, but I don't think top class goalkeeper is going to save that. One of the best keepers in the world's getting nowhere near that. So yeah, Swansea went in 1-0 up, and I think that does seem to spur Forest into life. Surprised Forest didn't offer anything in the first 10 minutes. I think if you read some of the quotes on the Radio Nottingham social media, there was saying it's no less than Swansea deserve, and Forest have just not shown up, and we just thought it was going to be one of them games where Forest just didn't play at all, and we put pressure on ourselves. and it would have really put pressure. I think Swansea were 3 points ahead of us, behind us, at this point. 2 games to go, especially with Forest remaining fixtures and teams around them winning the day before, earlier in the day. So yeah, we needed a response, and we did get that. I can't remember what minute it was in, but we got it through. Sammy Ameobi, Forest, breaking forward. Ball breaks to Ameobi, and I think someone tweeted earlier, it's like watching a Peugeot turn into a Ferrari, or a Robin Reliant into a Ferrari. So it was some comparison like that, and he just picks up the ball, tries to do a bit of skill on the box, somehow doesn't lose it. Ball breaks to him, but then next thing you know, he just curls a lovely right foot shot straight past Erwin Mulder. Had absolutely no chance. Again, like Ryan Brewster's, don't think a world class goalkeeper saving that at all. And Forest are back on level terms. And ever since that, I think Forest, just pushed on. I think Ameobi had another great chance. He picks up the ball, just flashed it across goal. I don't know why. If Grabban might have been offside, but Ryan Yates should be diving in there. Should have been 2-1, but sometimes you think them chances are going to come back to haunt you, and it did. And we'll talk about probably the villain of the game was the referee. I think Swansea fans were unhappy, and so Forest will get on some more of that later. But just before half time, Forest were just getting themselves into the game. It looked like we were getting on top and making it hard for Swansea. And then ball comes to Andre Ayew, cuts in, about to pull the trigger. Ryan Yates apparently fouls him. Referee Oliver Langford, who I mentioned in the preview, not afraid to make a decision when he sent Josh McGuinness off, and hopefully he has a good game. Well, spoiler alert, he didn't. If you read the reviews on Twitter and comments on Twitter about Oliver Langford, it's the same, but he gave Swansea a contentious penalty which was outside the box also. And I don't think it was a penalty. I think Andre Ayew kicks his own foot, or there's minimal contact from Yates. But yes, Andre Ayew stepped up for the penalty, and is it Baz Cooper, who tweets about Forest all the time, the journalist, said there's a drinks break between Ayew's run up for the penalty and him actually taking it, because the new rules state, I think it's from this season, it coming on last season, that you're not allowed to stutter on the penalty run up, you've just got to take it. And that's exactly what Andre Ayew didn't do. He stuttered on his run up, let Samba make the first move, and he slotted it past him. Forest weren't happy, but the referee allowed it. So that was Forest going down 2-1 at half time, which was such a shame, because it always is bad time conceding, they always say, because the game plan goes out the window. You've got back yourself, like Sabri would say, we've got ourselves back in it. We're trying to get on top of the game, making it difficult for Swansea. We can push on, and that goal just rips it all up. Why have you defended like that? That shouldn't happen. He's arguing with the referee, etc. So yeah, that was 2-1 at half time, and it was kind of like, where did Forest, go from here? It wasn't really, apart from Ameobi, he was looking our most dangerous player. It wasn't really the best side of football. We say we started to get on top later on in the half, but the first probably half an hour, Forest won at the races. After Ameobi's goal, we did kick on. So half time we needed some changes, but it didn't really come. So Sambaso was on a booking. I think Figueiredo got booked as well. I can't remember what he got booked for. I do. It was when so this was another contentious decision. Figueiredo went in. I think he won the ball. I think Steve Cooper, the Swansea boss, was too happy. But it was one of them that 10, 20 years ago, everyone's thinking that's a great tackle. But this day and age, you could get you a red card. He jumps in off the ball, but he plays the ball. I don't know why it's a yellow card, but apparently so. But he gets away with one, and we'll go on to that in a minute. But into the second half, there was not really many changes from Forest. I don't think there was any at half time, but we re-emerged needing a win, even a draw. A draw would have probably been enough for us. And the goal came from the main man of the game, Sammy Ameobi again. So the ball played forward. Carl Jenkinson picked up the ball, he lays it off to Ameobi, and I remember he come inside, and I was just like, don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot. And he shot, and it nestles into the bottom corner, and I was jumping around in the living room as you do, but it was just so funny. I was just like, oh, don't shoot, because I just thought it was going to be one of them that's travelled out for a goal kick, or you find it in, it's gone over the stands and into the Trent. That's what I mean, though. We say about Ameobi, it could have been one of them easy where he could have just, shanked it horribly wide, or it flies over. I think it was did he take that free kick against Preston where it was, I don't even know how you can call it a free kick, but no, he found the net, and that was really the goal that Forest needed. It was all over Swansea in that second half. I think Lamucci really must have given the Forest players a dressing down at half time, because we come out like a different team. And it's so annoying. I think I see someone tweet it who I follow on Twitter, and they were saying like it's annoying that we can actually play good football like this, because the majority of people who watch Forest say, "Oh, we're terrible. We sit back. We're so anti-football. We only hit teams on the break." Yeah, that's the game plan we play. But when we actually can play it, Fulham, the first goal against Fulham this season away at Craven Cottage, is an example. When we can play like that, we play some of the more better stuff in the Championship. There's a bit of passage of play. Where is it? I mean, I spoke about Ben Watson's back heel. That was a rarity. But then it was Ribeiro and Thiago Silva linking up down the left-hand side. It was just Thiago Silva nutmegging someone with a lovely little flick. Ribeiro, it was just unreal stuff we can play. But yeah, it was frustrating. But yeah, Lamucci must have said something at half time. Forest did get back on level terms for Ameobi, and it was another well taken goal. Colin Frey said it's better than the first. I don't know. I mean, there's always criticism for a goal. I think if you score a great goal, like for me, it was a good goal, but I think it goes for a crowd of bodies, and it was a very good finish. But it's not. I think his first one was better. But yeah, after that, it was a very even contest. I say Forest were on top, but I don't remember we created too many chances. Clear cut that the keeper had to save. But then obviously the contentious moment, Oliver Langford was probably at the centre of some real controversial moments for both teams. So as I mentioned in the first half, the penalty, but the second half, Tobias Figueiredo probably was lucky not to see red. So I mentioned the yellow card he got in the first half, and then the ball comes to him. Balls come at him, for the Swansea player, and Figueiredo. It was a needless foul. I think it was Conor Gallagher again, or Matt Grimes. It was one of the two, I think. And he just goes through him. It's a clear foul, and I was expecting him to be off, but Oliver Langford kept his cards in his pocket on this occasion. I think at the as we got later on into the game, was it Steve Hodge who was co-commentating? He said that the only one time probably he should have got his card out, he didn't, so we'll be thankful for that. But other than that, he made some terrible decisions. I think Carl Jenkinson got similar to Figueiredo's yellow card. He dived in, he won the ball. Again, this day and age, it's not acceptable to do. 20 years ago, that's fine, but he gave Jenkinson a yellow card, which shouldn't have. There was a few passage plays where Forest players got fouled and he didn't give it, but then Swansea got a soft free kick. I think it was Ayew, I think. Someone kicked their own foot, the Swansea player, and the referee gave a free kick, and it was like, he's not touched him. Forest were trying to counter. He pulled it back. It was awful. I mean, I think that's up there with Keith Stroud's performance against West Brom. Not as bad, but it's close. And as you see, people editing his Wikipedia page at full time, and all the jokes about him signing for Swansea and stuff like that. But I feel Swansea should have been in the right to be fairly aggrieved as well. The one decision he probably did get right, though, going forward towards the end of the game, was another red card involving Forest, but for the opposition, where Forest were looking to break from a corner. Alex Martin, who had come on in the end, he ran forward and was clipped by Kyle Norton right from the end. Really needless challenge, brainless again from another experienced pro. High on Alex Martin, he's seen red card, so that's, I think, apart from Fulham game, consecutive red cards in Forest's last 5 games, So obviously it was Bakuna for Huddersfield, Ashley Williams, Martin Waghorn, nothing against Fulham, and Kyle Norton. So that's 4 red cards in the last 5 games. I don't know if that's just frustration, the way Forest play, or the way the game was going, but yeah, Swansea played the last 10-15 minutes with 10 men. Forest could make the advantage count, though. It wasn't through lack of trying, but we couldn't find the goal, unfortunately. But it was a positive point in the end. We look back now and say, talk about the players in a moment, but the point we got is probably a point close to now the goal that we need to do, and it keeps the gap to Swansea still. I think it's still 3-4 points that were ahead of Swansea. So, is it 6? So we're 6 points ahead of Swansea. I think the closest person now who can catch us is Millwall. So, and that's, Forest only really need a point from the next. I think Millwall are 4 points behind us, so we only need a point from our next game at Barnsley. But we'll go on to that in a moment. But yeah, overall it was a very good performance from Forest, especially the second half. The first probably 20-30 minutes was poor, but as soon as Ameobi got the goal, we looked like we were going to be the better team. I think if Norton probably would have got sent off 10 minutes earlier, we would have pushed on and got a winner. But as soon as that went down, I think Steve Cooper brought on a centre half, and just see out the game. Swansea needed the point more than we did, but it's a point in the right direction in the end. And I think we'd have taken it at the start of the game against a good Swansea side, and the way they started as well. It's like, oh, we're in for a long afternoon. But no, points better than nothing. Like I say, Forest go to Oakwell on Sunday now with the hope now of securing a playoff spot, but they might even have to do it. They might have even secure a playoff spot before they kick a ball. So we'll have to wait going forward. As for the players, so we talk about Ameobi and influential performance from him. It's just crazy how integral he has become to this team. I remember saying in my previews and my reviews, to be fair, in my previews and reviews, to be fair, how Ameobi's been one of them players this season that I think is better coming off the bench, but Lamucci trusts him and he's rewarded his faith in keeping him, especially with the form that DaCosta's shown. Because I think Joe Lolly come back from injury, so he'll be a shoe-in to start for the playoffs if we do get there. Now I have to say it's a case of when rather than if, but you've still got to just be cautious, and it is Forest we're talking about. But you think Joe Lolly now will be rested and he'll be one of the first names on the cheat sheet for that playoff. So it's just now on the other left-hand side, who makes the grade for the left mid position, if you will. So DaCosta's come in, De Bruyne had another lively game on Wednesday. Looks like real great buy. I think people were writing him off, including myself when he first come in and was injured. But now I've got to properly see him. He looks like a real asset, especially if Graben is to get injured or Graben is forced off or Graben wants to come off. Can put him up front. He looks like a real handful. But if he can also play on the wing, will Lamucci stick with him or will he stick with Sammy? And I don't know. You never know with this. I think Ameobi is the number one. I can't remember what game it was. I think it was the Fulham game where we was at full strength when we played everyone that probably would normally play in a game. Who'd pick in that position. But then I think Carl Jenkinson had a good game as well. They're going on to say we talk about other players, and I think Carl Jenkinson had a really good game again. It's not going to be a starter, but just to have Matty Cash there, Carl Jenkinson, it's weird to think when you look at him, he does look about 21, but he has got that experience too. I say to Cash, like, oh, this is what you can do. I don't think he'll be taking defending tips off Carl Jenkinson, but he has looked solid. Bit slow, I think, a bit lethargic going forward. I was looking at some decisions, I was like, where's Jenkinson there? Like, he hasn't got the pace to get back like Cash does, but Figueiredo, I think he had another average game. I think he needs to be careful because Michael Dawson's always knocking on that door. Dawson come on in the end, and just that little bit of experience and discipline to see the game out. Ribeiro, another good game. Joe Worrell had a great game for all his wrongdoings in the past couple of games. Especially against Derby. I remember there was one. It looked like I think it was Chilena was going to go out for a corner and just come across and slide tackled it out for a throw. Ben Watson, Mr. Reliant as usual in midfield. Sambaso, was good to see him play now consistently after his injury problems post and pre-lockdown. Just needs to be careful on a yellow card. He always looks happy though, doesn't he? Like there's some decision when the referee went against Forest or himself, and he just smile. Obviously he thought it was a joke, but it's just crazy. He doesn't really get angry. He did get booked, and apparently I don't know how bookings work in suspensions, but if he does pick up another yellow card, he might miss the playoffs. I don't know how that works, and if that is the case, then he does need to watch his step. Ryan Yates done well since lockdown. I don't think he had the best game though. For some silly reason, he's been wearing a face mask for the game. I think he must have broken his nose or injured his nose, and then decided to not wear it for the second half. Then got a whack in the face, and he had to put it back on. So I don't know what he was doing with here. Graben ran the channels well again. It just looks a bit isolated. That's why I think we just need maybe a bit more support, especially when you play 3 central defensive mids. You haven't got that creativity to get the ball up to Graben. But again, he ran and did well. DaCosta as well had a great game. So the signs are positive going forward for Forest. If we can play like that in the second half against Swansea, if we can carry that in our next 2 games just to finish the season strongly and then into the playoffs, it'll be great. Of course, so we move on to Barnsley now, knowing that a draw will more likely secure the playoffs. Of course, if Millwall do not beat QPR on Saturday, we play Sunday. If it's a Millwall win, we'll put more pressure on Forest. They would have to go to Oakwell and get a win, but hopefully the job gets done before us. But again, Barnsley might still be fighting for their lives. But again, by Sunday they could be relegated from the Championship as well if results go against them. So we'll just have to see what happens, really. I'll talk about that more in my match preview for the game coming out, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, guys, that was my review for the Swansea game. Not really much to talk about in terms of the actual significance of it. It was a good point in the end, but other than that, it was very overshadowed by poor referee decision, which was a really good game in the Championship, apart from the referee's decisions. The same could be said about the West Brom game. That was a really good game, but apart from Keith Stroud's inability to ref a game, like Oliver Langford in this one, it was it cast a shadow over the game. But other than that, it was a good point. It was a good battling point as well. To say we come back from a goal down and then another goal down. So good to see we're resolute. We don't like being beaten. As I say, we're not going to lose back-to-back home games for this season. To have a look when the last time we did that. But going forward, it's another point in the bag, but it does stretch our winless run now to 4 games? 3-4 games. So we do need to pick up some points in the next few games just to finish the season strongly and get ready for the playoffs. Obviously, hopefully we are there. Obviously 2 wins or at least 1 win will do that, and we can rest some players for the final home game of the season. But yeah, guys, thanks for listening as always. I say, tell your friends, like, comment, subscribe, share us on social media, give us a follow. If there's anything you didn't like about the video, let me know, and if there's anything you can improve, think I could improve on. Again, feedback's always welcome. As always, guys, stay safe. I know it's a late review, this one, but say you can probably understand why. The preview for the Barnsley game will probably be out either Saturday or the lunchtime on the Sunday. I know it doesn't give you a lot of time to watch it, but just a little bit of light-hearted stuff to listen to before you get into the serious stuff of the actual football. As I say, guys, take it easy. I hope you all are staying safe and enjoying the football coming back. Forest are a step closer to the playoffs, and hopefully next time we speak after the preview for the Barnes game, I do my next review. Hopefully we will be celebrating Forest in the playoffs, and we'll be getting ready to welcome whoever we play over the 2 legs. Maybe be confirmed by then. So we know it'll be either one of West Brom, Brentford or Fulham. So, yeah, guys, I hope you have enjoyed it. And I say it's a late one. Apologies, but I say you can understand probably why. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. Stay safe, guys. And as always, come on, you Reds.